What if the right individuals in your business have the knowledge required to identify the reasons for those needlessly lengthy wait times and reduce patient wait times as a result? What if the patient care team could determine the main reasons why particular patient demographics have high readmission rates? What if the supply chain specialists were able to quickly assess spending, plan purchases, and maximize spending across the healthcare system to save overall costs? With the aid of healthcare data visualization, this is all achievable. Healthcare providers are given the ability to use powerful data analytics to swiftly examine and comprehend the data, which enhances decision quality while speeding up decision-making. You will learn more about data visualization in healthcare in this lecture. What is meant by data visualization in healthcare? A frequently used technique in the present big data era is data visualization, which is the act of analyzing massive amounts of data and communicating the results in a visual context. Big businesses like Amazon and Apple rely on data and data visualization to streamline and support their business choices as well as to maximize their operational efforts. Hospitals are currently attempting to use data visualization to increase efficiency and highlight health-related discoveries. A hospital may monitor patient progress and health while also understanding operating expenses, effectiveness, and customer happiness through the use of data visualization. Data visualization has a plethora of advantages, including these. A business analyst's job is to efficiently implement techniques for healthcare data visualization in an organization. In order to find and report on key performance indicators, KPIs, successful analysts must have excellent communication skills, be diligent researchers, and be highly driven by data. The adoption of data visualization in healthcare needs to be sped up because many hospitals are only now starting to make use of vast amounts of important data. Preventive predictive medical visualization. Although the future cannot be anticipated, several branches of data analytics in medical technology are available in the healthcare industry in order to convey various analyses that aid specialists in working with previous and future diagnoses. This is the case with descriptive analytics, which examines how historical data has performed as well as how it has behaved and how it is relevant to the topic, such as in diagnosing, in the past. Predictive analysis seeks to forecast and foresee future diagnoses and diseases and so serves as a form of prevention, in contrast to diagnostic analysis, which seeks to understand why particular diseases occur and explain their underlying causes. Before a health practitioner makes a final decision, the prescriptive analysis seeks to evaluate several situations and predict the results. The significance of data-related topics, such as data visualization, extends beyond health monitoring to assist medical professionals in anticipating potential future diseases and in explaining the causes of hazardous disorders and previous illnesses. What is data visualization? Data visualization is the technique to assist people in understanding the significance of data by arranging it in a visual context. When text-based data is exposed in any data visualization tool, a viewer can easily recognize any patterns, trends, and correlations in data. The images used in data visualization have interactive and dynamic capabilities that allow users to manipulate them, extract data for querying and deep analysis. Data visualization techniques are not limited to standard charts and graphs made in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. The number of ways is available to display data such as dials and gauges, geographic maps, infographics, heat maps, bar and pie charts, etc. Suppose a data scientist looks for writing advanced predictive analytics or machine learning algorithms. It is necessary for him to visualize the outcomes to direct the results and ensure that algorithms work fine. For example, a data scientist can deploy various types of data visualizations using R programming. In short, to craft a good data visualization, a well-sourced, complete and clean data is required to visualize, then a right chart is chosen. Now design and customize visualization according to simple preferences. Benefits of data visualization in healthcare. The benefits of data visualization in healthcare are given below. Benefits of data visualization in healthcare. Care coordination. All of these advancements in patient care come with improved data availability. Prior to the use of data visualization tools, Healthcare professionals would find it difficult to gather all the data they require, examine it succinctly, let alone in a format where the data is visually easier to understand and where they can easily add new data sets for further in-depth research. Through data visualization, nurses can more easily analyze studies and make use of their knowledge by making patient care data simpler. In order to determine typical healing times, healthcare practitioners can examine the data of other patients who have experienced the same symptoms. Patient education. Businesses like Cigna utilize data visualization to show how a person's health status compares to that of people in a similar demographic. These examples might help patients learn about their shortcomings, such as their body mass index, workout routines, and cholesterol levels. Public health. In the era of big data, many interactive visualization approaches can be used to evaluate the impact on public health and the implementation requirements in various ways. Big data can help identify implementation disparities and gaps when it is visualized effectively. This can speed up the implementation of intervention strategies to the population groups that need them the most. The success of precision public health depends on improvements in predictive analytics and useful tools for data integration and visualization. Strong training and career development for big data in public health are urgently needed, as health administrators may come from a variety of specializations and the majority, even those from public health, will not be well trained in big data science. The media frequently employs data visualizations to portray global trends in health. An illustration may be the confirmed COVID-19 cases by state in the United States. A graph of the United States with shading to reflect which states have been most severely impacted by the pandemic might be displayed in the visualization. Operations. By identifying and assessing certain teams and individuals and comparing their performance to the corresponding KPIs, operational data can assist promote organizational transparency. Teams can benefit from sharing best practices and learning from one another in this way, which can also aid the organization's operational plan. Tools of data visualization in healthcare. A data visualization tool makes it simple to manage and gain access to patient and organizational records, which can save any healthcare company a significant amount of money. Below we've listed some of the data visualization tools used in the healthcare industry. SAS Visual Analytics. Multiple users can access a large volume of updated data from the data loaded in memory, i.e., Laser Analytics Server, concurrently using SAS Analytics, a web-based application. By moving the burden from one computing device to another, these servers carry out parallel networking, enabling users to swiftly access encrypted data. In order to better serve its patients and customers, BioAccess Healthcare, a major healthcare provider in Greece, uses SAS. Tableau. It is a business intelligence visualization tool that transforms unstructured data into a predetermined format to deliver structured data in real time. It enables users to instantly produce fresh knowledge by updating the data. Innova Healthcare, a reputable NPO situated in Virginia, uses Tableau to quickly identify genetic illnesses and assist in giving prompt treatment to the individuals in question. ClickView. Data that is directly or indirectly related to each other can be transmitted into electronic medical records with the use of the business intelligence visualization tool Click. It assists in integrating data from many sources through its in-memory analysis, and it also lowers the cost of providing services to patients while minimizing the danger of medical error by monitoring safety measures. Additionally, ClickView synchronizes the scheduling procedure by compiling a comprehensive list of all the patients and doctors on its scheduler server and exchanging information with each end of the user application. Additionally, it makes sure that all regulatory compliance is timely provided and maintained, including operational and patient safety indicators. How is data visualization transforming the healthcare industry? The foundation of many medical investigations is effective and insightful data visualization. As they use and interact with health interfaces on a daily basis to produce patient reports and related information, it is also crucial for many doctors, medical professionals, nurses, and others. Data visualization focuses on the most important takeaways for the health sector, assisting us in identifying the most recent trends and relationships, and speeding up the data analysis process. The healthcare sector is investigating various digital strategies to develop a predictive model of activity in order to express a thorough database and to promote linkages with the most recent developments. Nearly all medical facilities across the world have used data visualization tools to handle their everyday internal operations. Hospitals have begun to totally rely on data visualization for all of these functions, as well as many more, from patient profiling and information recording to maintaining and monitoring satisfaction surveys and complaint registers. The following is a summary of some of the reasons why visualization techniques must be used in the healthcare industry. Minimizes errors. By removing human error and establishing a barrier for patient safety in a risky, dynamic setting, visualization technologies frequently assist in preventing diagnostic mistakes. This becomes crucial for protecting private patient data and information. A dashboard is made available by the procedure for tracking and keeping track of patient health data. E-health and e-medical records serve as the visual representation of this dashboard. Time and possibly lives can be saved by dashboards that make it simple for medical personnel to analyze large amounts of data. It is a computer-based method for recording medical operations that facilitates a better understanding of ongoing procedures and systems, brings down the operational cost. Making the data clearly accessible for utilization is done through data visualization. Through on-demand delivery of comprehensive data and information in easily digestible formats to the doctors, nurses, and administration, this procedure aids us in reducing operating costs. The platforms give medical practitioners access to specialized knowledge and data about the characteristics and inclinations of their patients. They can now track the patients more effectively and treat them correctly thanks to this. Interactive widgets. When you have a ton of information to give, it is impossible to pick just a few crucial aspects to highlight. This is true even if you analyze state-by-state health data using a variety of markers. Nevertheless, some knowledge components may be more significant than others to different members of your audience. If your dataset fits this description, an interactive widget or dashboard might be the ideal fit for your content. Through interaction, the viewer may simply get the information they are looking for without having to sift through a ton of content they are uninterested in. This can save a lot of time and work. Enables self-service analytics. Because they trust the data, a corporation can engage in self-service data analytics and data visualization in a secure, IT-managed environment. Similar to this, IT and the company's leadership will have confidence in the data governance model's guarantee that the appropriate individuals will have access to the data. This serves as the foundation of a self-service data analytics and visualization culture. Their location and identity have an impact on what they view. Anyone with access to the data can explore and learn more by offering self-service analytics. Asking questions that result in deeper insights, sharing observations, learning from one another, and answering one's own questions are all made simple. Each doctor would only be allowed to view and study the data that is available to them according to the security model because it is on a network that is centrally managed and monitored by IT. Assisting high-risk patients. The identification and grouping of patients according to the care and attention they need can also be aided by data visualization. It would be excellent to have access to and search for data that can be utilized to identify the patterns of many patients if all medical records were kept digitally. The persistent issues of patients who frequently visit the hospital will be recognized. The patients would receive more accurate care thanks to this awareness and analysis, which would also give insight into how to reduce the number of times they need to be seen. The best way to make and keep track of a list of high-risk patients, check in on them, and ensure they receive the individualized care they require. The demand for visualization tools is growing along with the trend of the industry toward a more data-focused environment. In the healthcare sector, data visualization as function will probably grow rapidly. It will offer a comprehensive perspective of market activity, from patient profiling to hospital operation monitoring, and will therefore enable it to offer more individualized experiences to both clients and patients.
In this video, you will learn how to create a chart to display the blood donation data points. So as you are seeing my screen, I have created this chart for different three departments for IT, HR and VI team. And here I have displayed the percentage of blood donation, like how many people has donated their blood from a specific department. This is some dummy data. I have taken the random number here and I have displayed on this beautiful infographics. Size of the blood will be changed according to the percentage. If I will refresh this, then you can see it is getting changed. So friends, I haven't used any kind of picture here. I have created this shape using the Excel shapes only. So let's start how we can create this beautiful visualization. So I'm going to add a new worksheet and I will copy this data and I will paste this data here. Let's go to the view and just uncheck the grid lines. Now first of all we will create shape. So I'll go to the insert and I'll take a rectangle from here. So I'll go to the rectangle, I'll take this rectangle and I'll drag a small rectangle like this. I will keep this rectangle here. Now I'll go to the shape fill and I will fill some blue color like this and I'll take the shape outline as no outline. Now I will make the duplicate of this. So just select this shape, press Ctrl D. So it will create a duplicate of this shape. Now we can change the size slightly bigger like this and keep this shape here. Again make the duplicate of this shapes, just select and press Ctrl D. This time change the size of the rectangle. For this rectangle I'll change the color, so I'll take this color. Now I'll select these three shapes together. I will align these center. Now I'll go to the insert again. I'll go to the shapes and at this time I will insert another rectangle. I'll take this rectangle, the rounded rectangle, and drag this rounded rectangle here like this and just keep this here. Right click, go to the format shape and here we will fill the gradient fill. So I'll click on gradient fill. This is some default gradient is available. Now what I will do, I'll take 6 stops here. So the first stop is this one, second is this one, third is this one, then I'll take 3 stops here also like this. Alright, now I'll change the angle. I'll take angle as 0 here and for the first one I'll take some dark gray color, let's say this one, and the last one also I'll take the same color, this one. Then I'll take white color. I'll select, let's say this color or this one, but for this white color I'll give some transparency around 85%. Similarly for the second last I'll select the white color, this one, and I'll take the transparency around 85%. Then for this one I'll take little light gray, something like this, and I'll take around 90% transparent. And similarly for this I'll take the same color around 90% transparent. Alright, now I will remove the outline from this shape. So select, go to the format, shape outline as no outline. Now I will insert another shape. So I'll go to the insert, I'll go to the shapes and I'll go to the basic shapes and I will insert this shape which is trapezoid and just click here. Just resize this shape, make it slightly smaller like this, and we will fill this color. So you can take from the format painter also, go to the home, format painter, and just click here, and we can keep this shape here. Alright, so let's select all, move slightly bottom side, and now I will make the duplicate of this shape. Just select this shape and press Ctrl D and just change the size of this, something like this, and keep this here. Select both the shape and now keep this here. Alright, now what we will do, we will fill the gradient color here also. So select the first shape and fill the gradient color. So this is the last gradient which we have used. So just select another one. Let's say I'm taking this one. Now let's change the angle, take 0. Remove the second stop from here. We'll keep only 2 stop. For the first one, this light blue, and the second one I'll fill this blue color. And same formatting I will apply here and here also. So what I will do, I'll select this shape, go to the format painter, double click on the format painter and just click here and click here. Alright, so it will give some 3D impact. Now here again I'll fill the gradient fill, click on gradient fill. This time I'll take little lighter color. So for the first stop, I'll take, let's say, this lighter color, and here little darker, so I'll take, let's say, this one. Alright, now select these all shape together, go to the format, align center, right click and you can make this group and just keep this here. Now we will create the needle like we have created here. So what I will do, I'll go to the insert and I will insert a rectangle, this one. So just insert simple rectangle. I'll remove the outline from here, so just take shape outline as no outline. Now just insert another shape and this time we will take this shape which is right triangle. Just drag this shape here like this and just keep this here, and we will remove the outline from here also. So just say no outline. Change the size. Select these two shapes, right click and make this group. Now we will fill some dark gray color. So select this shape, go to the fill and fill, let's say, this color. Change the width. Now the width we will take around 0.02. So it will be very thinner, and the height also I'll take around, let's say, 1, and then I will keep this needle here. So select this needle, select this group, go to the align and align this center. Right click and make the final group. Our shape is ready. Now what we will do, we will create the charts. To create the chart, I need a support column which will be the blank area or the transparent area. So I'll take here, let's say, blank. I'll put the formula here, 1 minus this, which is 20%, or you can take 100% minus the blood donation percent. Just fill this formula down. Now you can see we have put the rand between formula. So if you want to remove, you can remove it. Just take, copy, paste a special value. Alright, so it is giving the rest part from the 100%. So I'll select the first one, this one, go to the insert and then I'll go to the charts. In the charts, I'll take this chart which is stacked column chart, this one. Right click, go to the select data and just click on switch row column. Just click on OK. Our chart will look like this. We will make some changes in the axis also. Right click, go to the format axis, and here we will take minimum value as 0. Maximum value we will take 1, which is the 100%. In the major we will take 0.2, and in the minor we will take around 0.05. Just press enter. Now we will remove this horizontal axis, select and press delete. We will remove the grid lines also, so just uncheck the grid lines and change the chart size. For the axis, we will display the tick marks also. So just right click, go to the format axis and you can take the tick marks also. So just go to the tick marks and just take the outside here for the major type and minor type. Alright, so you can see some tick marks also. You can go to the format, you can take the shape outline color, this black, and you can take the font color, this black, and you can make this bold also. It will look like this. Right click on the chart, go to the format data series. Here in the format data series, the gap width we will take 0%. So it will look like this. Now for this orange, this will be for the blank part. So what we will do, we will fill here, go to the fill as no fill. And for this part, which is the blood donation part, we will fill solid fill. And we'll take the blood color, which is red color, this one. Alright, so it will look like this. Now right click and I will click on send to back. Then I will move this here, so it will go to the back. So I'll keep this here. So we will make some more changes, like for the chart we will go to the format We'll take shape fill as no fill and shape outline as no outline. Then move this here. So our chart is quite bigger. We can change the size, take around this size. It will look like this. Select the chart and then press Ctrl A. You can move this here. Let's say here I'm taking 100%. Then it will be filled till here. So what I will do, I'll adjust the chart accordingly. Alright, if I will take here, let's say 20%, then it will be filled 20%. For 40%, it will be filled 40%. Let's say 80%, then it will be filled 80%. Alright, the same thing we will repeat for the other also. So select this chart and this shape, and then you can copy and you can paste this here. Then make another copy, so just paste again and just keep this here. Now I will select the chart, and then as soon as you will select the chart, you can see the range has been highlighted here. Just change the range. So pick this range using mouse and move it down. So this will be for HR. Now select the third chart and then move the range till here for the BI. Alright, so we have all three charts ready. Now I want to display some reflection. Then I can select the shape only, not chart. Then I'll go to the format, shape effects, reflection, and let's say I'm taking this reflection. The same reflection I'll take for these two also. Alright, now we will create a tray like we have created here. To create this tray, what I will do, I'll go to the insert, I'll go to the shapes, and I will insert this rectangle and just drag this rectangle here like this. Right click, go to the format shape, and then here I'll go to the effects. In the effects, I'll go to the 3D rotation and I'll choose some preset. I'll take a preset from perspectives. I'll take this one. Then I'll go to the 3D rotation and here I'll choose top bevel. So I'll take this one. Then I'll give some depth also, let's say around 20 point, or you can give around 25 or 30 point. And then you can keep this here, right click, send it to back. Then we can fill some different colors. Select the shape, go to the format. I'll choose the black color here. Then for the outline, I'll choose some gray color. Let's say this one or this one. We can change the reflection slightly smaller. So what I will do, I'll select this shape, then I'll go to the format and I'll go to the shape effects, reflection, click on the reflection option. And then here you can see the size is 38%. I'll take around 12 or 10% only, or let's say 15%. Same thing I'll repeat here for these two. I'll take around 15%. So there will be a small reflection only. Alright, now we will add the data label like we have added here. To add the data label, what I will do, I'll go to the insert, I'll go to the word art, I'll take this word art and I'll keep this here, and then I'll select this word art, I'll go to the formula bar, press equal to and just click here. So it will be connected with this one. You can see it is displaying 80%. I'll keep this here like this. Make it bold, slightly bigger, align this center, then I can take the font as white and make this bold, or you want to keep the font as black, you can keep it black also, whatever is reflecting better. Just select this text box, press Ctrl D, it will make a duplicate of this and keep it here, and this one keep it here. We'll change the cell reference for the second text box, so just take B3 here, and for this one just take B4. Now to give the same format, select the first one, go to the home format painter, double click here and just click here, press escape. Alright friends, now our chart is ready. You can give access also here, so you can simply insert another word art, let's say this one, and just type here. The first one is for IT, make slightly smaller, keep this here, make it white. Quickly we will create two other also. Just select this, press Ctrl D. Alright, so it's ready. Now you can select any shape, press Ctrl A. All will be selected, right click and you can make the final group. So this is the one group now. If you will change any value, let's say for HR I want to put 85%, then you can see the HR shape will be filled 85%. 35%, then it will be 35%. Alright friends, so that is how you can create this beautiful visualization. Friends,
so here's the big questions we're going to try to answer today, which is really, a lot of these are being driven by things like Obamacare and those kind of things. The first easy one to ask is more of a retail kind of question, but it also applies to healthcare, is where should I build my next office at? You'll see companies like Mayo, and we have in town in Jacksonville here, for example, we're seeing Mayo open up a lot of primary care physician offices all around town. They don't just arbitrarily throw an office there. They've done some research on that. So the research that I've gotten from them and a few other hospitals will decide how to make it an actionable intelligence there. We're also going to find out where the competitors are before we build that location, and we'll do that with things like Yelp data, some data that's not necessarily easily available in some cases. And then now we're going to get to the Obamacare stuff. So Obamacare stuff is very key on the Medicare type data, and all this data we got from the Medicare website. So we want to analyze what is our cost as a hospital or a provider compared to our peers, the state average and the national average. If that cost starts to vary too much, then you start getting a slap on the wrist. But speaking of a really big slap on the wrist, we want to evaluate our readmittance rates. This is a huge thing with Obamacare starting this year. Well, actually started sooner, but really big this year. The research we did said that $17 billion was spent on people that were readmitted before their case is truly finished. So Mike had a heart attack, they think he's all good, they send him home, he has another heart attack, and he's back in the hospital 2 weeks later. You should see Mike. You'd say he's a heart attack waiting to happen. But the amount of fines this year is actually going to equate to almost $500 million, $428 million in fines for these hospitals based on the readmittance rates. So hospitals and providers really care about readmittance. So that's our last question we're going to ask. And we're going to do it a few ways, but we're going to focus on how does an end user answer this question themselves. So let's go on, Mike. So we're going to be using Power BI to do this. This is Microsoft's not necessarily new tool anymore, but it comes in multiple flavors. The first flavor is going to be the Excel flavor, which you can get today. If you have Excel 2010, you can get most of the things except for the Power Map item, and Excel 2013 gives you the whole shoot and match here. So we'll be kind of trying to for technical people, I'll try to kind of give us a kind of simile here for you. So Power Query is similar to your end user ETL tool. It's going to move the data out, extract the data out, transform it somehow, maybe remove duplicates, maybe mash it together, and then load it somewhere else. It is the main mechanism to get data into Power BI. So if you want to get data from Power BI, whether it be from a CSV file or an Excel file or a website or SharePoint, Power Query is the source you want to do it. All the investment now is being done in Power Query as a mechanism to move data. So Power Pivot, which used to be that mechanism to get data, they're really focusing on Power Query to do that lifting and shifting now. Power Pivot is our cubing engine. It's going to help us slice and dice the data without having to use full-blown analysis services. A micro version of analysis services basically lives inside of Excel now. And an important thing there is it's in memory. It does a huge compression algorithm, giving you almost 95% compression, so you can pack a whole lot of data inside of one spreadsheet. Power View is a reporting engine for the end user. It builds very pretty reports. It is not going to be pixel perfect kind of reports. That's the important piece there. And then lastly, for our storytelling, for geographic kind of storytelling, like where am I going to build my next office, Power Map is a great tool to do that. It is going to be able to look at geographic type systems, even custom maps it can look at. So I want to see a map of my hospital and figure out where all my patients are flowing through. It can do things like that even for them. So it's a great storytelling engine. Now the online entity they opened up now, PowerBI.com, they announced it, well, that passed last year, but it's now available for beta for you, is at PowerBI.com. You have all of this available to you with the exception of Power Map. But it also gives you additional things like semantic searching, and you also get online dashboard. So it kind of gives you a delineation there. All right, so just kind of graphically showing this, kind of build this out, Mike. We're going to use Power Query to kind of pull our data out. For modeling the data and building relationships, we're using Power Pivot. Now in the online presence, you don't really know you're using Power Pivot, but Power Pivot's behind the scenes there. And then lastly, we'll present it whether we do in Excel, or Power View, or Power Map. That's kind of our presentation. All right, so we're going to do our first demo. In the first demo, we're trying to answer the question, where should I build my next location, and how does it relate to the competitors? That's our first demo we want to do now. So let's go and hop out here, Mike. I've got some Excel data already open up. And this Excel data I got from FactFinder. It's part of the census data. And I generated this extract right from the census. The cool thing about this is it's showing us by zip code. I could have gotten lower granularity, but right now it's by zip code. This is a marketing person's dream. So in each zip code, I, of course, can tell the city name and where that's at. And this is, I'm looking at Florida here in my case. I put the population of that zip code, how many households there are, what is the value of that household, what is the average age in that zip code, how many, what's the income, the household value, and so on and so on and so on. What we're really trying to target, because our older population is consuming Medicare, and I might get dinged on Medicare, I want to attract a more younger audience where I can actually get their company's insurance. So that's kind of what a lot of the providers have told us they care about. They're trying to build these hospitals and these affluent communities where they might be able to get more income from the old-fashioned United and Blue Cross and the old-fashioned kind of healthcare versus the Medicare. So we're going to look at the number of population below a certain age range here. Just on the right there, Mike, I think 3 columns over there, we have a, there we go. We want to get a whole bunch of kids and a whole bunch of 20 to 64-year-olds because they're likely going to be people that have insurance. That's our goal there. Okay, so Mike, we want to build, we'll do 2 things here. Let's go ahead and first of all look at Florida as a whole, or just our region as a whole, which is the Jacksonville region, and find out where those pockets of youngsters are. So to do that, we're going to try to tell a story. We'll tell the story through Power Map. So let's go out, Mike, and let's bring the data in first. Let's actually bring it in so we can actually pivot it and do a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll go to Power Query window. If you don't have this at home, you can get this in 2010 or 2013 by downloading the add-in. And they update this add-in quite often, about once every quarter almost. Sometimes more frequently. So yeah, sometimes monthly in some cases. So Mike, we're going to get this data from, we're going to go ahead and get this data from the table here, the Excel table. I'm going to suck it into Power Query mode here. And we want to make sure those numbers that we have, all those numbers you saw, were actually numbers. So we're trying to make sure they're the right data types. Otherwise, it won't let us sum it, average it, and those kinds of things. So Mike, we just want to select that population all the way over, and just make sure those are actually change the type to numbers. This is the Power Query pane here. This is where all the ETL is done inside of this end user. So as he selects those columns, you know, the column name itself, Mike. There you go. You can hold the Shift key or whatever you want to do there. There we go. He's getting all these columns right now. He's going to right-click, and as he right-clicks, you're going to see a whole bunch of actions that you can do. Uh-oh. Yeah. There we go. Don't should click on the column, though, I believe. There we go. And you'll see change type. We can change its type into a text column, just like you do in Excel. You can go into it. We're going to go into a whole number in our case, or whatever. If you guys just want to get pizza, you're open to get us also. Don't worry about it. All right. So one thing to note here, as it does this, on the right, we're seeing a list of items that's been done. So on the right here, it says applied steps. We only have one item that's been done here, but we're seeing this change type. We can keep on doing. As we do that, we can roll back any steps. So it's really hard. It can be done, but it's really hard to screw this stuff up. It can be done. I've done it before. All right, so let's go ahead. This is all the actions we want to do for this one. We can rename columns. We can do a whole bunch of stuff here, merge columns. There's a whole bunch of actions we can do. There's some things in here that are easier to do in here than they was in SIS. So you're actually finding a convergence between Power Query and SIS in some cases. You can actually run Power Queries from SIS. Now we're seeing some errors here, looks like also. That was from, that was actually a decimal number as well. So we made a mistake there. Mike, can we convert that over to a decimal number instead? You made a mistake there, so you can actually select that X here to undo the step. Because the average age might be 58.2, for example. So I made a mistake there.
So a real good question while you're doing that. Can Power Query ETL be easily migrated in an enterprise consumption like SIS?
Yes, the question about can it be done with SIS, you can use it a number of ways. So one way is with PowerShell is one way to consume it. You can also use the SIS scripting language language to use it for the source also. After we have in Task Factory, we're building a Task Factory Power BI refreshing task that will refresh the queries as well. But it can be used. There's actually some great blogs on the web about using Power Query as a source in SIS. It's using scripting mostly. That's a great question. All right, cool. So this pizza's smelling good. God, go for it, please. All right, so let's go ahead and close this mic and load it. All right. So that's taking that query now, bringing it in there. All the data types are now correct. Now you can see we actually called a terrible name, Table 3. So we'll keep a mental note on that actually means our census data. And Mike can rename that by right-clicking on it, renaming it. But it's a pretty terrible name right now. But I think you can right-click and rename it. But you have to actually go in the property. That's fine. We'll look at this right now. They keep on changing the UI every build. Now let's get one more. So we want to get blast data from Yelp. So let's open up a browser down below in Chrome here. And let's open up a Yelp window here. Okay. So we want to find out where the other primary care physicians are and where many people aren't very happy with this guy that's already near us. So we have a whole bunch of doctors right here, but they're all terrible doctors. So we want to hopefully build our location and set those patients away. So what Mike's going to look for in Jacksonville, Florida, is going to look for primary care physicians up there. So we're trying to create some actionable intelligence we can do this with. So I think does this, primary care. That'll work. Thank goodness for IntelliSense based on our spelling stuff. And you'll see some unusual stuff in here. We got like some CVS's and all that. But we select like family practice. We'll be able to kind of narrow down just the doctors that we care about. All right, so now we're seeing a map of all those and their ratings and all that. So wouldn't it be great to use this data and consume it? And that's exactly what we're going to do next. This table you're seeing right now, we want to consume as a real data set. And this is where the SIS question, Devin, really comes in handy, doesn't it? Because if we can do that through SIS, also, it's very difficult to do in SIS, a lot of scripting and all that. But if we can do all the hard work, all the heavy lifting in Power Query, and then integrate it in SIS, now we got something. So you'll see up in the URL up top here. Mike, would you mind zooming in up there? I have zoomed on. You'll see the URL actually calling out Jacksonville. It actually calls out physicians right here in Jacksonville, and the category there is family doctors. So that URL, Mike is going to use in a moment to get the data. So Mike, if we go back to Power Query, and you should get you all on Notepad just in case. All right, he's going to copy it from Notepad here. Now we're only at the first 20, but Power Query has the ability to hit next 20, next 20, next 20, and you can do some scripting to actually do that. So in our case, though, we're going to go to Power Query. We're going to go from web this time, Mike, the top word in there. We'll go from web. You'll notice that you can do online searches also, saying, show me data that is, show me the top countries out there by population. It will actually do that search also. So he pastes that URL in, and let's look what we get back now. This is actually going to be running sending the API for Yelp, which is public, and we get a list of businesses right here. So if he clicks on that list of businesses, there we go. We're getting a list of records now. Now we want to convert that into a table, Mike. There's only one option we can do here, so it's pretty easy. We'll select the to table. All right, it's asked how is it delimited? Well, it's not delimited in any way at all, so let's hit OK. OK. And now you're going to see it like that icon. Would you mind zooming in there, Mike? You'll see a little delimiter icon. We're just saying, I see a whole bunch of columns inside this. If he selects that icon, it's blowing up this data set into all these columns. So when he hits OK, we're now seeing all the data set you saw before, but now the data set's consumable, and we can run a report against it. So as he does this, we can kind of look at the data, and it looks like I see addresses. Mike, could you slide to the right? Let's get the average rating. Somewhere on the far right here is average rating. This number of reviews, and we can actually get the individual reviews also. So if you're a marketing person, you can use this to kind of load all the individual reviews into a data set that can be consumable, and you can do sentiment reviews based on it. Not just like guessing sentiment. It is hardcore. Somebody rated me 1 star for a reason, right? So I need to know about that. So we're looking for average review, I think it's called AVG. There it is, average rating. Sorry. So would you mind selecting that column, and let's go ahead and make that a decimal number, just in case. All right. Now the next thing we want to do, we see a pieces of an address here. So if you go to the slide to the left here, Mike, you see like a full address. If you slide all the way to the left, Here we go. So we'll see an address column. Let's see Atlantic Beach here. So that's our city name at least. So if you slide to the right again, we're going to see a full address here. So these columns a little closer. I see a zip code there. All right, that's important. And there's our address. Let's move that column. Let's drag it over so we can get all of them closer to each other.
And one thing too, Brian, you mentioned this briefly, but someone asked the question again. How would you get the next 20 values here?
Yeah. So what you're seeing up top here is, as Mike is doing this, you'll see an advanced editor icon. That advanced editor icon right now, Mike is actually writing what's called the language called M, which is for mashup. And if Mike wants to get more advanced, Mike, would you mind merging those columns? You're going to select these two columns and merge them together with a space, first of all. You'll see a merge column. And he's going to add a space between those. But as he does this, let's go ahead and put a space there and hit OK. He's done about, what, 8 steps here so far, or so? And let's do the next column here. Mike, you want to do this time, comma, Florida. So you'll look at the state there somewhere. Oh, make sure you, what order you select? Yeah, there you go. Make sure you select the right column first. And he's going to do a comma this time. So after he's all done here, let's look at the language, what's actually being written here. So here we go. So as he does this, if he hits the advanced editor icon up top here, this is a language as he's written. Every line here represents a click motion that he's done. And now most people don't have to know this, but you can actually parameterize this and change this URL dynamically and loop over it and say page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and so on, if the URL allows you to do that. In this case, the URL actually allows us to do that, and the API is pretty friendly in Yelp. So we could suck down all the Yelp data if you have permissions, of course, to do that. But it works well for other sites as well. So we can't spy.
And you have to have things like developer API and things like that.
Right. And for Yelp's purpose, we have to have a developer API. I'm using the non-developer API, which gives me 20 records in my case. So we have a good URL, our good address here, Mike. We're at merge 1. Let's go ahead and call that just address, so our full address or whatever, so we have that. And let's look at what's in the report now. So now we know where the most populated parts of town are. We know where the other doctors are, at least the first 20 doctors are. Let's bring that together into one story now. Okay, so Mike, we want to close and load this. Okay, and we did not give it a good name again. We called it query 1. So we have table 1 with your census, table 3 with census, and query 1 is our name. We should have given it a name like Yelp or whatever. Matter of fact, Mike, let's just well, that's okay. We'll be lazy. All right, so let's go ahead and do a map now. So under Insert up top here, you're going to see a new option if you install the plugin. It's called Power Map. So let's select that map right here. And now this requires Excel 2013, the Pro Edition 2013. And Office 365 also obviously includes that. So if we do that, it's going to select that data set right there and say, okay, I'm ready to map. Let's do this. So as it's looking at the data, Mike, I think it was called Table 3, right? Was our data set first? Let's go over here to Table 3. Let's first of all scroll down and let's uncheck all the Yelp data that's checked right now. Query 1 during Yelp data. Let's uncheck all that rubbish right there. See, we'll do all dots right here. It actually recognizes that it has address data already before it does anything. But let's get rid of that zip code. There we go. All right, so let's scroll up to our census data now, and let's figure out where to build our next location. So let's go. You'll see geography ID somewhere in the census data. Now you notice it's not called zip code or anything, right? So it's not obvious it's zip code. But if he checks it, it automatically detected in the bottom right it's a zip code. And now we have push pins for every zip code in Northeast Florida. So again, all this data sets are public, including the Medicare data. So now we want to do something with this. So he hits next. So far, it's really one click into this. Hits next. We want to now look at our young population. So let's look at population that are 20 to 64. We'll check that. Look what happens. Let's get rid of that legend first of all. We can do multiple things. Now, a lot of the things you can do. I have a surface he's running this on, which is not a super high-end machine, but he can touch. He can use 2 fingers to kind of spin. He can pinch. He can zoom. Might play around for a second. He can also use the little buttons there to kind of. There we go. There we go. So he's using his finger right now to kind of play with the data, but he can also use the arrows right there to do the same thing if you don't have a touch screen. I'm asking for it if I ask Mike to play with the data. That's not a good thing to do. All right, so this is one way. So we're seeing our pockets of where all the young people are at, but we we have it by zip code right now. There's a whole bunch of other things we can do here. One of the visualization techniques is a heat map, which is this second last option right here. If he selects that, it kind of zooms out. We see all the pockets of red here of where all the youngsters are. Now, for this kind of data, though, it probably makes sense to shade every zip code. So if he selects a last icon, the regions icon, it's going to highlight every zip code. And the darker the color, the more the youngsters there are in that zip code. So again, this could be at a very, very micro level. We can customize this also. So this is your store, for example. You can customize, this is how my pediatrics is doing versus my OBGYN, and so on and so on. So this pocket right here, if Mike were to hover over this, you can see a whole, looks like it's going to be 32068, that's actually our zip code, and there are 30,000 people that are 20 to 64 in this zip code over here. It's a pretty big zip code. As you kind of go to other ones here, we can see other ones. I'm missing one zip code, looks like, as you can see. But pretty good stuff. Now, we want to overlay this with the Yelp data now. So we can see the darker colors here, and we can see pockets of where it looks to be a good location. Now, where are our competitors at? To do that, he's going to add a new layer right here now as well. When he adds that new layer, okay, there it goes. So now as we're starting from scratch, now if we scroll down, Mike, we want to get that full address that you had before. So scroll down, we're looking for the full address that you created. There we go. Now, it couldn't recognize this time that it was actually an address. So you'll see right here, it says it thinks it's a street. That is a drop-down box that says full address. It gets wrong. Let's see how we do. There we go. Let's zoom in. So now we're getting a list of the first 20 doctors and where they're at. It's got a push bin. Now let's see them by their Yelp reviews. So he goes and hits next now. So probably 5 clicks in somewhere, Mike? If you had to guess. If you were doing, okay, 5 clicks. We're going to get our average reviews now. Here's a review count. It's all alphabetical. It's there is average rating. I always call it reviews by accident. There we go. Now we're doing some stuff. All right, this is really cool. So now we're seeing that we got this huge population over here, and it looks like where this is right here. This huge population. Only one doctor's office is serving this whole population pocket over here. Only one provider based on our first 20 records at least. So obviously this is not exactly correct, but we get the idea. Up in the north, in Nassau County, we have a huge population right here, for example, 34,000 people, not one office. So at least in our first record set at least. So we'll kind of hypothesize that's a good location here. So let's kind of build a story that we can do in a presentation now. So Mike can start at this level right here. And as you see with the scene 1 on the left here, what he can do is he can hit the little gearbox over here. And he can say, well, I'm going to tell a story. If I was in high school or college speech class, this would be really fun. So I'm going to go over the story here, and you'll see it's putting a whole bunch of effects here. You can call this zoom out or whatever he wants to call it. And it's going to be a 10-second scene, and he's going to change the effect here to be something like, I don't know, flyover or whatever. Thank you. Now, when he goes over here again, he'll say new scene. You flyover, perfect. He'll do a new scene now. There we go. Let's see if we can copy the existing scene over. And now let's zoom in to where we think we're going to build our office. Let's zoom in to where you want it, over here on the right. And maybe kind of change the aspect a little bit. There you go. Perfect. Looks pretty cool. And let's do the gearbox again and do a different type of scene. Now watch how easy this is. So far he's 3 clicks in building a scene. Let's do something different, Mike. Pick a scene you think. Yeah, push-in sounds good. All right, so he's built basically a video now. It's built a 20-second video. You can increase the length of that, change how the flyovers work and all that. He can create that video, he can create video. We're not going to do that right now. Let's just preview it. So he'll play video. We're going to start to now tell a story. Let's create the video. You can integrate it into PowerPoint and say, all right, we're looking at our offices now, and where we want to build our new location, yada, yada, yada. Let's look at the Nassau County area now. We'll see it kind of zooms right in, tells this great story, and it's like CSI-like, isn't it? It's pretty cool. Now we're looking at the location. We're proposing our new office, and we're choosing this location because, as you can see, there's no other doctor's offices nearby with positive reviews, yada, yada, yada. So pretty neat and amazing way of telling stories that you couldn't tell before. If I had this in high school speech class, I might have actually gotten a B. All right, so so let's go out of this. All right, so what this going to show us is how we can ultimately tell stories with Power BI. And this is in Excel. It's all really free add-ins to Excel. This is a 2013 add-in. We used Power Query also to kind of mash the data up. So let's go ahead and go over our slides again. Mike, we want to close this up with some RAM. My portable laptop.
You mentioned the versions there. There was a question about Power Map and Office 365 versus traditional. Can you talk just briefly about the preview and traditional Excel?
Right. So the Power Map officially is only supposed to work with the Office 365 flavor of Excel. However, we've had it installed with not it yet, but eventually they're going to turn that restriction on. Is there anything else they've seen on that?
Yeah, the preview is the only thing that works in regular Excel.
So it's eventually they're going to tap that out. All right, so let's go into the other side of Power BI. So the online presence. So again, there's an Excel flavor and there's an online flavor. The online flavor in V1 they announced, they released about a year and a half, 2 years ago now. You had to have Office 365, so you're already up your license cost. It cost a fair amount, it was about $20 a user a month. So there's some showstoppers there. It was all hosted inside a SharePoint environment, inside a hosted SharePoint environment. So that was our biggest showstopper. Some people said, I do not want SharePoint in my environment. That is not what I want. I am a XYZ shop, and that's how it's going to be. So they had some places had an adoption issue around that. But it also had a huge payload of stuff you had to get installed to basically make it work. It's all in the cloud, which is nice. So that was the showstoppers we saw. You had to have Excel to kind of build those reports in some areas, but it had some really neat stuff it can do. So in V2, which is PowerBI.com, let's put an advanced, Mike. They've done a lot of changes. These are the visualization now. Pretty slick. They have this notion of 5 minutes to wow, right? So I can click on, I use Salesforce.com, click on it, and it builds a dashboard for me automatically in less than 5 minutes. I'm really 2 or 3 clicks in, and it assumes what the best kind of dashboard is for me. Again, it is software as a service, so the licensing price has changed quite a bit now, and it has great dashboarding capabilities. So this data you're looking at right here, this number might be coming from Salesforce.com. This map might be coming from SharePoint data. This over here might be coming from another data set in SQL Server somewhere, and this might be an Excel spreadsheet, all on one dashboard. And that's one of the coolest things you can do with it. I think it's one of the best offerings. All right, Mike? But nifty enough, it also works on your phone device as well. So I have, they released Power BI for the iPhone about a month ago, David?
A little bit longer than that.
Longer than that, actually. It's actually a pretty good app. It's a free app. So if you have PowerBI.com, which is it's in a preview state right now, no credit card required. It is a preview state, which means it's a preview state. It's beta, right? So you're going to find some quirks in sometimes. And Mike Reed up in front here has been the victim of a lot of those quirks as he does our own dashboard. But some really neat stuff you can do with it. But with this, you point to your username password, and it's almost live data. As soon as you save it on the website, it saves on here. It gives you some stuff on here you can do that you can't even do on the website. For example, one of the really cool, the best features I think on this, as a consulting company, we monitor our utilization rates. And we can create a data-driven alert on that. So if my dashboard on my Power BI site ever goes a utilization rate below or above a certain rate, too high, people quit, too low, other things happen. So with that, we can ultimately, it'll send me an alert on my phone that says, hey, utilization rates are above 90% right now. And people are getting burnt out right now. You can also put annotations, you can mark things there, you can actually drag things on top of other ones. It's just some really, really cool things you can do there. So this is a great app. Right now it's native for the iPhone and coming soon on Android and also Windows Phone as well. But if you don't have that, it also is HTML5, so it works natively in the browser anyways. All right? And lastly, for those that don't have Excel, they actually have given you a free Power BI Designer where it has almost everything that you have in Excel, some additions. Some additions and some subtractions. The subtraction is Power Map. The addition is some of the visualizations different. You get some new charts. Actually, am I advancing the slide? Here's some of the visualizations that are different here that you can't do in Excel. So you have the tree maps, one of my favorite visualizations. The size of the box matters. You, of course, have fill maps. Fill maps are basically Power Maps, but with a little bit not as sexy of an interface. You have gauges built into it. You have static numbers that you can do as well. You have combo charts, and you have sales funnel kind of analysis. So all those kind of things are built into this one-click kind of analysis. Cool. All right, here is the price though. They're going with the freemium model. So the built-in price is free. So for a certain amount of data per user, you can do this without any cost at all. And the neat thing is you can actually tie this live. So one of the differences here is you have to do with live analytics. For example, when we visited a Minnesota hospital, one of the things they were showing is the amount of patients that are inbound, that are waiting, what the wait time is. You can actually use Stream Insights, which is an Azure service, to monitor that non-PHI data, non-personal healthcare data, and stream it right to a dashboard and watch the gauge go up and down live on your web screen. So some really neat stuff you can do around that. So all this stuff comes in included. Now, if you actually want to pay, you get some additional things. You get up to 1 million rows per hour you can use per Stream Insight to watch those gauges go up and down. Your refresh rate goes up also, so you can go from a daily refresh to up to an hourly refresh of your dashboards as well for non-live dashboards. A whole bunch of other things are included with that as well, more on the collaboration side. And it does integrate with still your Office 365 visual analysis. If you're using Office 365 as your mechanism for security, this will work here as well. Cool. The last piece around that, this is neat also. They have new connectors on PowerBI.com to sources that are in a REST API. In other words, if I want to get data from Salesforce.com, I point to Salesforce, hit a button, and it builds a report for me automatically. This is stuff that's not available in things like Excel. You can't get to GitHub, for example, or the support desk, Zendesk. Those kind of things are all built in and out of the gate. And it's like one click, you're off to the races. Now, if you do have on-premise data, Mike, the next slide, on-premise data can also be connected with this thing called the Now Services Data Management Gateway. Now, this is something you install on-premise, and it will stream data to the offsite. For analysis services tabular model, it can actually pass the query right through and do a live query. So you're looking at your on-premise data right from the cloud. For other systems, you can actually just be more secure uploading the data this way. So you have a whole bunch of mechanisms. The nice thing about the analysis services one in tabular is it actually handles your row-level security. So the doctor can only see his own patients, the hospital can only see his own hospital, and so on and so on. You can actually honor that row-level security, that live query. Okay. All right, so let's do our last demo and our biggest demo for the day, and that's going to be the online presence. Pretty much everything we're doing online can be done with Excel. The exception to this rule is going to be there's some stream charts we're going to do also, which are not Excel friendly. All right, so the question we're trying to answer here is going to be readmittance rates and what is the most cost-effective hospitals. Those are two kind of questions we're going to ask here. So I want to find out who is costing more than the state and national average, which hospitals care about that because they get dinged for that. They're too costly on Medicare side. It's the by claim type. So again, we got all this data from the Medicare website. Mike, we can close Excel now. And Mike, let's open up Power BI Designer. So let's start and type in Power BI Designer. And this is actually Mike's first time in this interface. So we'll see our first, you're going to see how a new person might struggle in your environment in some cases also, or how they might excel. We'll see. No pressure, Mike. All right, so we're opening up this Power BI Designer. If I mess up, it's your fault. Yeah, exactly. You can't go wrong there, right? That's why I had mine try, so I had somebody to blame when things go terribly, terribly wrong. All right, so we're going to get some data here. Now look at how easy this is, first of all. When we say get data, we can actually point data to a whole number of data sets here. You're going to see, look at all these data sets here. Everybody's a first-class citizen. Oracle, DB2, doesn't matter what your data source, Teradata is in there. There's tons of data sources we have. We can point to a website like we did before. We can point to a SharePoint list. Text file, XML is all a first-class citizen. In our case, though, we're going to go to good old-fashioned CSV files. We've got an extract from the government. Now, we could have done that a bunch of ways. We could point right to the extract URL and done it that way also, and that would come every time we refresh, it pulls right from the URL on the website also. There's also something called if you go to the folder that's open right now, you'll see the URL right there. Copy and paste that URL there. There you go. Or in our folder location. We can also use the Azure Data Marketplace also to get data we don't have. It's like maybe it's some data that's a blessed list of something, or there could be something that's out there that we can purchase data sets also. All right, so we want to get a list of hospitals. So we want to get the hospital general information, that second one down. This gives us every hospital nationwide, all the providers nationwide that Medicare is currently paying. And this is a list as of about 20 minutes ago. Okay, so this is, again, this is from the Medicare website. Mike, do you have any questions so far?
Yeah, time.
Oh, okay, wow. How many do we have on?
About 500.
About 500? Okay, cool.
So quick one on the you talked about mobile earlier. Is mobile Power BI coming to Android?
Okay, so a mobile Power BI coming to Android. That's actually the next place it's coming. They're going to go iPhone. Believe it or not, Microsoft's going iPhone, Android, and then the Windows Phone. So on the Windows 8 devices, Power BI is already an app for that. Those would be native apps, though. It's the order of native apps. But again, already you can go with the browser just to get there the old-fashioned way also. All right, so notice this time Mike went ahead and pointed to hospital general information. Now if he goes to query here, we're actually going to name our queries properly this time, Mike. Let's go ahead and on the far right, it says query 1. Let's call this just hospital. But look at the steps it's already done. It recognized the file had a header in it. So somehow magically it figured out the header. And it went through and changed the types on some of the columns already also. So it looked at it and said, okay, this looks to be a phone number. I'm going to go and change this type. You'll see it has like little globes next to address information automatically also. So we've gathered that and all those pieces. Mike, let's get a full address here also. Well, that's okay. We'll leave this as is. We're not going to we won't get a full address or anything. But we can merge those columns. Notice if you right clicks on any of these columns right there, you'll see a list of all the actions like under transform. You can make things lowercase, uppercase, all those kind of things. And if it's a number, you can do mathematical operations also. You'll notice it's pretty limited down to 2 options here, the query and the report. They're hiding Power Pivot here from you. But it is there, it's kind of behind the scenes here. You have to do some extra steps to kind of make it work. Again, this is end user focused. They're trying to make it super, super simple. He didn't get dropped into the query window, he got dropped into the report window saying, let's go, let's do this. So if he was an end user, he could start building a report right now. Because he's not an end user, we're going to start to kind of trim things up a little bit more and tidy it up. Mike, I think this looks pretty good. This list of hospitals. I want to limit the list of hospitals though just to Florida. Just kind of keep it clean right now, so we don't have all that. So to do a filter, all he's going to do is just unselect all that, and he'll select Florida. Again, it feels like Excel, doesn't it? So because you're in that Excel experience, your filtering and all those kind of things works beautiful.
So I had a couple questions about, sorry, I'm talking a little bit louder so they can hear me, about big data. So can tools like this be able to consume big data?
All right, let's talk about other employees out here. What do you guys, have you got any guys use big data on this? It absolutely could, but any experience on that? Okay. Okay, so yeah, so it can communicate Hadoop and all those kind of big data sources out there. Matter of fact, Mike, if you went and get data again, under get data there, we'll see under more. There we go. One of our some of our data sources here are going to be Hadoop, and there we go. Go down, HDM sites, all those kind of places we can absolutely pull data as a first-class system. Cool, great question. All right, so let's cancel that, and let's get data from more CSV files. So we now have our list of hospitals. We've limited just Florida because that's what we're focusing in on. There's a whole bunch of hospitals in this. It's hundreds of thousands in here, providers, so we want to kind of limit that down. Let's grab maybe the cost information. So let's remittance. Let's get that as well. So this is all the remittance and how many people have been readmitted to the hospital after that stroke or after that incident they had, and why is that, and the number of those people. So again, we have our provider ID is kind of that unique identifier between all these files here that we're going to use. And Mike is calling that readmit. That sounds good. And Mike, this looks pretty good, but let's go over to the right here. We want to make sure some of these are numbers. And you're going to see that as we go down, let's make sure these from the denominator over to higher estimates are all numbers. That's going to give some errors when we do this. The reason why is because we have some data where it's not available. You know, we don't have any instances of a hospital so small they never saw this kind of incident before. So when he does that, he'll see errors down here. And let's not do that, Mike. Okay, that's okay. So showing the error down here. But if he right-clicks on the denominator right there, he can say, well, let's just remove those errors, replace the errors, remove the errors, whatever. So we can replace those errors with 0, for example, or remove those rows altogether. So because they have no data, it's of no value to this report anyways. So there's a few ways you can actually do that. In our case, we can just replace it with 0, so we got some data back. All right, so what we care about here, though, is, hey, am I above the national rate for readmittance, or below it, or on par? If I'm below it, I'm getting fined. And when I say fined, you're getting fined big. The average hospital is getting hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in fines in some cases because of this. They're not meeting those quotas. So it's all about that Medicare money in this case. And you got to think our population, our baby boomers are getting more and more Medicare consumption right now, right? So these fines are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is our first one. Looks pretty good. Might we have one last file to get? That's your claim rates. Let's get our claim now by hospital. And do you have any questions?
Yeah. So from the new Power BI question here, several on that side. Can Power BI be integrated into other applications? So if you have your own app.
Great question. So it's on the list of coming soon kind of things. The question was, can it be integrated into your own custom application? So if you go to the Developer Center on PowerBI.com, you'll see one of the things they're working on right now is the integration into your own website, your own blog, or whatever. So that is coming. It's a pretty neat feature, I think. So
one more quick question here. A lot of questions on data limits, like how much data can be consumed, because you know you're in an Excel type tool. So do you have limits as far as the amount of data you can consume?
So we push it pretty hard. I have one example data set where we have, almost 4 billion records of movie data. And we're able to get it on my Surface device with about 8 gigs of RAM. So you can really push this thing hard. And the reason is that that's a pretty narrow data set. And the reason why is it compresses it, hyper compresses that data by almost 90% at least. So a lot of repeating numbers in these kind of data sets. Look at our screen right now, right? We have repeating values over and over and over again. We'll have some massive compression with this. Okay, great.
I'll use more to
All right, no problem. All right, so we have our claim data in now, Mike. This claim data, thanks for naming that also, by the way. We're seeing different periods. Is it a remittance claim? What is it? And in my case, as we slide to the right, we're going to see some numbers here, Mike. We want to make sure those are actually summable as well, or aggregatable as well. So he's going to select those three, and that's perfect. Let's go ahead and change that type over to let's see, already work. And then let's also, on the far left here, claim type here, sorry, claim type. I'm looking for a total here. Can you remove, and hit the drop-down box for filters here? We want to remove a column called total. So the way they present the data is they have basically it's a report. So they show the line items, they total it up, line items, total it up. So we're trying to remove that and get rid of that junk data. That's pretty much all we're going to have to do in this case. Looks like we're pretty good though. So we did some very minimal amount of transformations here. We could have got a lot more gnarly, but this is pretty good in our case. So we have the readmittance or the claims. Let's go back to our report, Mike, and there's one more piece we have to do. So in this case, the reason why I brought a list of hospitals over is because you saw each hospital had like 10 or 12 rows for it, and we want to have that create that one-to-many relationship here. We want to have a linkage between those, so that everything kind of links to everything else. So you can see is there a tie between readmittance and the cost of the hospital. You know, they're charging more per incident this hospital, but they also have the lowest amount of readmittance. So you're kind of washing out this case. So we're seeing all that data kind of being sucked in, getting ready to analyze. Now there's no relationship between these right now. And wow, there we go. To create the relationships, Mike can hit this Manage Relationships button up here. The same thing can be done in Excel. It's actually easier to do in Excel, frankly. But in this case, we're going to build a relationship, and we'll hit New. We want to build a relationship between a claim and a hospital. So Mike will select, we're looking for provider number here on both sides. It's called provider ID or provider number, Mike. There is provider number on that one, provider ID over there. When he hits OK, we have to create a relationship between those. Let's do it one more time. Let's do it for now our readmittance rates. This is our child table. That's our master table. There we go. Provider ID, then provider ID. Our number. Oh, sorry, Mike, yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, cool. So we now have a relationship still. Let's build a nice sexy report now. So let's build our, we're going to build a two-pager here. One that analyzes things like the cost, and one that analyzes the readmittance rates. So we're seeing, luckily he named them all right, so nicely done here. And notice it looks at the data sets here. It recognizes the address is actually an address column. So if he checks the address column, for example, what Power BI is going to do is, oh, I recognize this. It's an address. And here are those list of hospitals right here. That's pulling up all that right now. I thought we filtered that, though. I only Florida. Okay, that's okay. Well, let's uncheck that. I think we did. So, Mike, let's uncheck the phone number there also. So I want to get a list of maybe counties that we can use to kind of slice things down, just to get kind of analyze county by county. So let's check the county icon. Now again, it's going to recognize it's a geographic and try to push pin, in this case, solve for. There's some counties that are named Clay County and Wyoming and all that. So if I had Clay, comma, Florida, it would have zeroed in on that. We know we're all in Florida though. We don't need this map. Let's turn this into a slicer. So if Mike were to hit either up here in the top, you have the drop-down box here. You'll see a list of all the different elements you can use, one of which is a slicer right there. Or you can hit the push the little option right here, and you'll see a slicer option there as well. So there's our list of counties. We can shrink that if you want to, Mike, a little bit, create a little more wiggle room. Now we want to look at this maybe by claim type first. Like where are the different claim types really costing us? So if we select claim type, in our claim area there.
Okay, while you're doing that,
sorry, first of all, Mike, you want to select in the white area to create a new report.
Yeah, while you're doing that, let me ask another one here. A lot of questions because this is a healthcare session. You mentioned being able to connect live data through Power BI. Does that data actually get pushed into the cloud? So there's concerns about security with data. And you mentioned PII and
PHI, yeah.
PHI, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of hospitals, a lot of healthcare sites are using this for their aggregate data like we're analyzing right now, and not PHI data. They're worried about that. Believe it or not, a lot of hospitals are using the cloud for some areas, especially financial data and all that, where it does not have PHI. In this case, when I'm pulling from live analysis services, it's not living in the cloud, it's passing the query right through and doing that. So the only risk there is that data management gateway. And it's pretty darn secure. It's not storing your, Microsoft's not storing your credentials in any way in the cloud. It's a great question there. All right, so Mike, he clicked on the options here for carrier types. And what Mike, as soon as it does that, it's analyzing this by provider number, which is absolutely no use for us. So we can go and kill that provider number. It thinks that's what we want to analyze. It picks the first number it can find. Says, okay, well, obviously you want this. We want to see the average cost per incident. I think it's by state, so I think it's going to be by a hospital. Let's do that third option now. There we go. By state. Sorry, let's do by hospital. Check the next one. Sorry. And that's the only one. I didn't want to install the latest greatest explanations. It's the first one. All right, mental note on that one, Mike. First one. All right, this is the average cost per hospital right here by claim type. One of the neat ways you can analyze this, though, Mike, is if you select that top right icon right here. Again, the same. Oops, there we go. Let's do a tree chart here, which is this guy right here. Okay, so now it's giving us the size of the box matters now. And let's build one more. Now we want to get on the hospital level. This is looking at the entire county right now and what the cost is by different types of claims. Let's look at this now by hospital now. So if we go over to something in the white area right here, and let's grab a hospital name. There we go. And let's get the same one. All three of those measures this time, Mike. The claims by, there we go. Average spending, all three of those this time. Boom, boom, and boom. All right, let's make that big right in the middle here somewhere. Let's move it down and kind of get big. Keep in mind, Mike has never used this before. This is his first time actually laying hands on this. True story, right, Mike? That's very true. All right, so as he kind of plays around with this, obviously since this is kind of a little bit interesting right now, because it looks like we have phone number in here also. That's a good summable number. It's an unkill phone number. Let's get rid of that one. And let's add that last one there, Mike, that average of whatever that is there. Okay, there we go. So we see there's some hospitals in here that are big ones here that are giving us grief here. Let's look at Alachua County here. There we go. So Alachua County, it looks like University of Florida Shands, their cost per incident at the hospital was a little bit higher than the national average, where in North Florida Medical here, we're slightly lower. So we're seeing the cost breakdown again for the state, the nation, and the hospital here, which is an important metric for a hospital in some cases. So now, let's make that filter a little bigger here also, Mike. Okay, so there we go. Let's get that view ball already. Here's curious about our county here. There we go, so all of our hospitals. Looks like the most expensive hospital, based on the difference here, is Memorial Hospital in Jacksonville. And then the most cost-effective is going to be UF Shands downtown. They're our biggest one for capturing Medicare patients. They have to be very cost-effective. All right, now let's do a new page here, Mike. Right here. Okay. Let's do the same county slicer again one more time. We're going to do a slicer for county, and let's grab one for the hospital also.
So you're doing that, Brian. A lot of interest in the data. Just some requests to actually find. You got it from healthcare.gov, is that correct?
I actually got it from, if you just look for Medicare data, it was factfinder.gov, I believe is where I got it from.
So a lot of interest on the, maybe we can post it.
We'll post it on our blog. That'd be a great idea. Yeah.
Maybe with a slicer.
Let's do a slicer on hospital also, Mike.
Hospital name.
And hospital name. All right, we're going to go to hospitals now. Hopefully you have the hospital side versus the, there we go. Let's make that a slicer also. And our last slicer is going to be in the readmit one. It's going to be by compared to national. There we go. Let's make that a slicer also. So what we're trying to basically do is build a drill down into a given hospital, find out how they rank. Ideally, we would see this, all side by side. Let's look at Duval again, Mike. Let's kind of filter it down to Duval. There we go. All right, and we only care about, in our case, people that are worse than the national average. And every hospital is going to have some metric that's worse than the national average. It's just going to happen that way. Let's build our report right here, Mike. Maybe just going to move them around a little bit to kind of get them closer together. Let's do our last one for the day. Here we go, good enough. Let's build a report here, and we want to see by the different type of incidents. So we'll get your readmittance right here. We want the denominator. Let's grab the denominator. And we want to get the measure. Somewhere here, the measure name. There we go. Let's grab that bad boy. All right, let's make that big right at the bottom there, Mike. There we go. Now we're talking. All right, so we're seeing the number of people that were readmitted for accidental cuts here and those kind of things. Let's look at one of our hospitals, St. Vincent's, for example. It looks like they're doing pretty good. So whether worse than the national average, it's going to be these types of systems here. Looks like a discharge for, it's exacerbated after discharge. But overall, they're looking pretty good. Let's compare tomato, for example. See how we're doing there. Only one packet were they worse than the average. Now, if you look at the other way, well, where are they better than the national rate? See, overall, they're on par with the national rate as far as readmittance. They're more better than worse, though, in most cases here. And this is the ones that are actually better. Now, it's not bad to have this many instances. It's just they're comparing it to national. You're going to have people come back to the hospital for instances. But in this case, they're far by better than the national average. If you look at no difference, we'll see every incident here. But so you get a breakdown of most people are readmitted based on collapsed lung at Mayo. That's interesting. But that was not worse than the national average, not better than the national average, right on par, looks like. So pretty interesting data in this case. All right, so we have our data now set. Let's go ahead and save this off to my desktop or somewhere you can find it, Mike.
So what you're doing is also some questions on predictive analytics. So can Power BI do data mining or some kind of predictive analytics?
Okay, so can Power BI do predictive analytics? So one of our predictive analytics guys right here, Jason, now really the tool for that is going to be like the Azure ML. This is kind of where they're going with Microsoft. And there's a whole set of webinars on Azure ML. That's what the tool you want to use. It's great for doing this kind of analysis. And this is all looking historically, but look future, you're pretty happy with Azure ML.
Yeah, so what's cool about the Excel tools is you can use it as your data munging tool, get all your data together from all your different sources, and you create your signature file, or the file that you're going to use to mine the data, and export it to a CSV or upload it to Azure ML or R or SAS or any other tool, and then you can mine it right in that tool. But there are some add-ins to Excel for data mining.
They're a little funny sometimes.
Yeah, they're not full featured. But Microsoft's going all in on Azure ML.
Cool. All right, Mike, let's go to this. You've already saved it off. Let's go to PowerBI.com over in my web browser down here. And let's open up that PowerBI.com right there. Let's go ahead and get data. And I'm going to upload this now. So we're going to get data from the Power BI Designer file, which is what you just created. Notice all the different places we can connect to here. But in our case, we want to go ahead and connect it to a Power BI Designer file. We'll browse out and find the file that you already did. Now we're going to send that file we designed into the cloud. Okay? And there we go. There's a whole bunch more inside this that we unfortunately didn't get to go to. But let's just connect it. All right, it's now uploading the data, uploading our data sets also. Now, if the data was already in the cloud. It already lived in the cloud, like Salesforce, for example. When we do things like refreshing from here, it is automatically refreshed. It's not actually bringing, it's negotiating all that. We're not seeing all that right now. All right, so here it goes. Here's our same data we had in the back client now in the thin client. Mike can kind of maneuver around, but let's say, for example, this chart right here. This is really interesting, Mike. This one right here. What he can do is he can actually pin these to a dashboard. So I think I already have some dashboards built, though, that Martine already built. Let's look at those, though. Let's go ahead and go backwards here a little bit. There we go. So you're seeing the one that Mike just did. What do you call it, Mike? Hospital report. All right, there it is right there. What Mike can do now is he can click the ellipsis button here, and you can, of course, rename it, open it, and all that. But as he goes down, we're building dashboards here. You'll also see our data sets as he scrolls down. And these data sets can be refreshed through a schedule. They can also be just refreshed manually. So if he selects that, you'll see schedule refresh. We're not actually going to do it right now, Mike, but you get the idea. We can also do lots of different things inside that. We can also share these out as well. So you can share out the reports with one click through up here in the dashboard area. Let's go to the dashboard. Up the dashboard, I'm sorry, up a little higher. So these dashboards, they've already been built out. You can select that and share those out with other people as well. And if they're just because they're consumers, they can, in most cases, be free here also. So this is actually showing more patient data in this case. Look at a doctor with a slate device walking into a room. We've already navigated down from a hospital to a certain care unit, down to the patient level here, and we're seeing the patient kind of very much PHI data in this case. We're looking at that they're live, because this could be a live stream from the Internet of Things, basically, all the different devices in there. As we go into our data we have here, let's look at maybe the Mayo one, for example, Medicare data. There we go. You can see what we've done here is we can append certain things to this. So as we're looking at a report, when it seems interesting, Mike can move these around and shuffle them around. All sorts of things he can easily do if there's as boxes. He can also go up top here and ask a question to data. So if he goes up top here and asks a question, there we go. Let's ask a question like, what is the count of hospitals by county? There we go. There's our the amount of hospitals we have in our data set. Oh, there we go.
By county or
that'll work. All right, we have 4,500 hospitals, and we can actually say by county or whatever, and get the. Or if he types in the word by, it'll start building a map now. So it recognizes what kind of question he's asking and immediately goes into that. So this is the Power BI experience. We have webinars just focused on this, don't we? Right? So yeah. So